If you own a GoHighLevel business or you're thinking about starting a GoHighLevel business, one of the biggest headaches is getting leads. This is the most common asked question that I've seen for GoHighLevel users. The problem is a lot of YouTube videos tell you to do cold outreach. Go on Google Maps, look at a company, find out what their problems are, and then reach out from a cold message. But the problem is with this, is these companies get many phone calls from people all the time, and you don't really stand out. It's kind of like fishing, throwing a net in the ocean and just hoping that you'll catch something. Whereas what I find, one of the best ways to do it is to run targeted ads through Meta, just in your local area, so it doesn't cost you much money, but you have a unique selling point over your competitors. This allows you to speak to warm, qualified leads and not wasting your time trying to beg for business. Because when you use cold outreach, it's bad for motivation, it kills your spirit, it causes frustration, burnout. It's just generally quite a bad strategy. And you see the people who are telling you to do this aren't doing this themselves, which is fairly ironic if you think about it. One of the biggest problems when you start is you just don't know who to trust or what strategy to take. Whereas when you're speaking to warm leads, it's really good for all the opposite reasons. It's great for motivation. You feel like you're getting somewhere. One of the best things to do to encourage willpower, so there's more momentum in your business, is actually by getting little wins. Now, over the last 6 years since I've been using GoHighLevel, I was actually one of the first people in the world to use it. There was only a couple 1,000 or 2,000 people in the Facebook group when I actually started GoHighLevel in 2019. One of the best strategies, I believe, is actually having a quiz in a funnel. So you actually sell the quiz rather than trying to sell the services. This strategy has just recently been endorsed by Cody Sanchez, Alex Hermosi, and Daniel Priestley on Diary of a CEO. You can find that on YouTube if you want to watch that. The problem is when you look at YouTube videos on how to actually build a quiz, what most of them actually tell you is how to use the functionality of GoHighLevel, but that's not really what you need to know. That's only 10-20% of actually being able to use a quiz effectively. What a lot of them don't tell you is the difficult part: how to score it, what questions to ask, how many questions to ask, what to say in the results bar, how to avoid getting a decimal place in the overall score, how to navigate the category scores and the overall score. They just seem to skip over these things, and that's really 80 or 90% of the hard work. So I decided to create a 3-part series on the best strategy, I believe, for anyone who's starting GoHighLevel to really get your first 5 or 10 clients. The first video is about Facebook ads. The second video is going to be about how to build the quiz, which is this video. And the third video is going to be how to build the funnel and put it all together and start getting leads straight away. The reason why this strategy is really good is because your unique selling point, the thing that differentiates your business from everyone else on GoHighLevel, is you're the only one in your immediate local area. As you go out from a radius, obviously more people might be selling GoHighLevel. You bring on more competition. So what you do is you start in your immediate local area, and as you grow and you get more clients and you get more reviews, you can increase that. This keeps the cost of the actual ads really low, and it's going to allow you to speak to warm clients who actually need your services. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to show you how to do the quiz, and from end to end, I'm actually going to give you 6 magic numbers that you can use, which will actually prevent the total score coming out as a 62.1% or something that looks a bit messy. And I'll also provide a link in the description where you can put your name and email address in, and I'll actually email you the PDF on exactly how to build the quiz for yourself and how you can get your first leads or really scale up from where you are at the moment. So now I'm going to share my screen and let's get straight into it. Okay, so it's a 15-question quiz. Don't have a GoHighLevel account? Then I would love for you to be one of my affiliates. I've just started a school group, and unlike a lot of the other GoHighLevel experts who've been using GoHighLevel quite some time, brand new. So if you become my affiliate, you'll actually get one-on-one help directly from me for free. I don't know if anyone's offering that, so it's a really powerful option for you to be able to get started and actually get one-on-one help. And I usually charge $400 an hour. I've never done this before, but because I'm actually building a brand new school group community, the earlier you get in, the quicker you're gonna have one-on-one help, and that's worth a lot of money. So the opportunity is there now. It's the start of 2026, and that's also good because the UI, the user interface in HighLevel during this video will be unchanged, hopefully for a little bit of time. HighLevel does change things quite often, but the UI should be very similar to what you're using if you watch this video hopefully this year. Now, forms, surveys and quizzes all got the same UI, very similar. So if you've used forms and surveys before, the quiz is going to be the same. Let's dive in and let's look at the quiz. So I'm going to start off by going through all of the questions. I'm just going to make my screen a bit bigger for this, so you can see the questions a bit easier. I'll go through all the questions first, and at the end I'll show you how to do the results and how I actually build the individual questions. But there's lots of videos on YouTube about how to effectively use the user interface, and I'm not really going to cover that because a lot of people have already done that, but I will give you a quick rundown. I'm not going to cover that in depth because there's a lot of content out there already doing that. I'm really going to focus on what questions to ask, why I'm asking those questions. I'm going to go through every single question. So I'm going to put a link in the description. If you just put your name and email address, I'll actually give you access to the framework that I've used to create this quiz, so you can just copy and paste the information across, tweak it if you want to, but you really just want to get the general points and the general format of the way I've actually done this, because it's very effective. So let's just go through the questions one by one, but before we do this, let's just give you the framework. Okay, so here's the PDF that's available. It's actually 13 pages, so it's quite comprehensive. So the point system that I use is of either 3, 8, 17 and 25, and that means when I offer 4 individual products and I'm scoring them over 4 questions, any combination of the numbers 3, 8, 17 and 25 will always end up as a whole number when the overall score is automatically calculated. That keeps the actual results a lot cleaner looking and the margins looking a lot better. We don't really want to give a customer a score of 62.02 because it just looks messy, and the whole point of this is really to build up the confidence so the potential client can trust us being able to solve a problem, because trust is the biggest hurdle you're always going to overcome when speaking to potentially new clients. You can also use the score 2 and 1 as well. I don't use that because I don't really want to give people a score of 10% because it's just demoralizing. So 30% is the minimum score. A low score, when you're actually doing the quiz, a low score is a really good opportunity for us, whereas a high score is less opportunity for us, but it's really good for them. It means they're doing everything right. I've got 15 questions. 1 to 4 is qualifying the business. 5 to 6 is qualifying the marketing. And then I've got 1 question, 4 products that I'm actually offering: sales funnel, CRM, an AI agent, and a chat widget. And I've actually color coded them as well. I don't put any of those scores in as an overall score. I only use 4 categories, and I'll show you what that is. That'll become clear when we actually look at the quiz itself in HighLevel. And then finally, I've got questions 11 to 15, and what they do is make sure I'm speaking to the right person, financially qualifying them, getting them to think about how much revenue their business could potentially get, and then asking them how much they would pay for that. So now you know a framework. We'll jump back into HighLevel and we'll go through the questions. Okay, question 1. What would be the one thing you would improve more than anything else in your business? So this has really given me a really good understanding. Is there lead quality a problem? Is it the quantity of leads? That would be relating to a sales funnel, potentially a chat widget as well. An increase in sales conversions, that will be relating to a CRM, a pipeline within the HighLevel business suite, which is how I actually pitch it. A lot of people sell HighLevel as a CRM. The way I pitch it is an actual end-to-end business suite for service-based businesses that incorporates a CRM, and that helps me differentiate HighLevel as a digital product separate from its competitors, which is what we're trying to do. And then more time, that would be AI agent. So that's a really powerful question. It's given me a really good understanding of where they're at. Question 2 is a trust building question. So how have you tried solving that problem? That really, if you speak to somebody in the street and they ask you a question about something specific and you tell them that answer and then they change the subject, how much would you think that person cares about the first question? Probably not that much. But if you ask someone a question and then you have a follow-up question that relates to the answer that they've just provided, it makes people think, okay, well, this person cares. And I genuinely care about the results and the benefits my clients get. For one very good reason, is because I want them to actually be making a lot more money and have a really good ROI on what they're paying us, because then they're going to stick with us. I'm not going to have to go out and get more clients to make the same amount of money. So it's a really powerful question. I don't have enough time to solve this problem. Again, that could be an AI agent. I need help to solve this problem. Okay, that's great. We can possibly help you. Let's understand the problem a bit more. Third-party agency, hired staff, online research, and others. So that's really going to give me an understanding of how much energy they've put in overcoming the problem that they've actually been enduring. Question 3. Does your company employ a full or part-time marketing manager? When we speak to a potential client, we put them in 3 individual categories. Or they have a basic understanding of marketing, an intermediate understanding of marketing, and or a professional understanding of marketing. If they have a marketing manager that they actually speak to on a regular basis, then there's a good chance that they know a lot more about marketing than someone who doesn't do that. So if they have a basic level of understanding, I don't want to use acronyms or jargon or get too deep into things. I want to keep it super simple, so the information I give is quite consumable and quite easy to understand for that potential client. Whereas in the other end of the scale, if I'm speaking to someone in there or know a lot about marketing, I don't want to be patronizing, but I also want to be able to establish trust that I actually am a professional and I know what I'm talking about, and I would use jargon to someone who also understood marketing to establish that level of trust. So that's a very, very important question that I need an answer to. Question 4. How many people do you have working in the sales department? This gives me an understanding of how big their business is, how much training is potentially going to be involved. It's going to help me price the initial build cost, how much work's going to be involved. So that is the first 4 questions. That's qualifying the business. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to qualify the marketing, which is going to be 2 questions. So firstly, now, if it's a radio button like this, they can only actually provide 1 answer. They can't click more than 1. Whereas if it's a checklist, they can actually select as many answers they want. And that's why you shouldn't really score these, because it gets really, really, really messy. When the system actually scores it, what the system does is it looks at all of the categories, adds them all together, and divides that by 100, and it works out a percentage based on that information. So that's why it often has a decimal point on the overall score. That's why we use those 4 magic numbers to make sure that it's nice and clean. So this is a multiple choice question, and none of these questions, if I click into it and I click the cog, none of these questions have actually any scores against them. All of them are 0. It's just information that they're going to populate their account with. So when I'm actually speaking to them, or one of my salespeople are speaking to them, then they've got a good understanding of who they're speaking to, how to actually pitch our services to them, so their conversion ratio is as high as possible. Okay, so question 5, multiple choice. Where do you post regular videos showcasing your business activities? This is going to give me an understanding of, do we actually create video? Video is one of the most powerful mediums to expose to your local area. So that's where your revenue of local service-based businesses comes from. So if they don't do post regular content, that's a massive, easy in for us to be able to convince them to be able to start doing this, because this is going to help boost their company more than anything else. Okay, obviously we're going to get that content to the eyeballs of their potential customers, but that comes later. We need to see where they're at the moment. I mean, are they posting on YouTube, Facebook? They're either not creating posts, or they're putting pictures on Facebook and they don't understand how important that content is, and how much of a difference it can move the red line in their business. So really good question this. It's also going to give me an understanding of what they're doing with that content. So that's question 5. Question 6. This is also a checklist question, so they can put multiple answers down there. Do we actually have a long-standing business that's got a really, really good high-ranking website within their category on Google? If so, then they'll probably get a lot of leads from their website. Or do they pay for social media ads? Do they have a good organic reach? Usually not on Facebook. Usually they have to use TikTok or Instagram or YouTube to be able to get good organic reach. Cold outreach, this means they're like very, usually the older sort of generation use a lot of cold outreach traditional marketing. People don't like to change the way they've done things for years. Or word of mouth. Maybe they're quite a small company and they just use word of mouth and they're not really driving it. So this is also a very, very powerful question about their marketing. So that's the 6 qualifying questions about their business and about their marketing. And that gives us a really good foundation to understand who they are, what they've done, and where we can potentially help them. Now we're going to ask them the 4 scored questions. And those scored questions, the way we score them is like this. So what I do is I click on the first one, I click on the cog here, and then what I do is I actually go down to this bit here. And what I do is I've selected 4 categories. The way I added the categories, I just clicked on this and I actually added in 4 categories. You can add another category there or you can delete it. And those 4 categories are the only questions that I score, and I put no overall score in there because it's automatically worked out anyway. So they also always have an automatic score. When you start making it too complicated, you mess things up. You make the whole scoring and the results card very, very difficult for them to really understand. So you keep it simple. Does your company have a sales funnel optimized to generate leads? Yes, happy with results. Yes, I think we could do better. Yes, not happy with the results. Or no, we don't have a sales funnel. And I've scored that 25, 17, 8, and 3. So anyone that scores 25 on any of these next 4 questions, we don't want to work with them on that particular product. 17, yeah, we might have an opportunity, but we don't want to push too hard. 8, we can definitely help them. And 3, then if they don't get our help, then they're going to carry on losing a lot more money. That's the way I like to sort of think about them. So that's question 7. Question 8, how do you manage leads and your customer's journey? CRM works well. CRM, I think it could work better. Spreadsheets, Excel, G Suite, Google Sheets, email or messages only. So again, don't want to work with the top 25. We don't want to work with people who score 25 on this one, which is the top one. Again, I can click on here and you'll see the scores are all in here: 25, 17, 8, and 3. Are self-explanatory, so that's basically to build a pipeline for them. This one here is to build an AI agent for them, which is the 3rd one. This one here, orange AI agent. So again, exactly the same structure in this one. This one's about a chat widget. Again, same structure again. Okay, so that's the next 4 questions I ask, which are specific to 4 products that I'm really, wanting to build for people. Don't mention anything else in high level. I'll just mention these 4 things, and this is my in. It's the first product that I can start with to build that rapport and really establish trust with our client so they understand that we are forthcoming and really wanting to do the best for them. Questions 11 to 15. Now, these are the final numbers and finance questions. So, what is your position in the business? We really want to speak to the owner director, but I have spoken to staff members and others, and there's actually strategies out there for cold outreach where you actually speak to a staff member who actually passes it on to an owner or director, and that gives you a much higher probability of being listened to over trying to reach out to the director directly. Okay, directly. Excuse the pun. So that's question 11. Question 12. How much revenue does your business turn over annually? Some of our best clients that we work with do $200,000-$300,000 a year, and they've been with us for years. Everyone pays us $1,000 each a month. That's Australian dollars, which is about $600 US or about £500. And we've also had a client who was doing $70 million a year. They had a team of 30 people, a solar company, and they were using several different CRMs, and we consolidated all of their workflows into high level, which is a lot cheaper for them and a lot easier to prevent mistakes by their staff. Okay, so that's this question. What turnover increase can your business reasonably manage? Now, this is a really good question for them to start thinking, oh, hang on a second, if I'm making $1 million a year turnover, what would it be like? What would my life be like if I was making $1.5 million? It gets them excited. This is why they have a business. It's the only reason they have a business. So this is a really, really good question. And then follow-up question, what is a reasonable amount to invest to achieve your desired revenue goal? A lot of people just put $3,000 to $5,000. If they're not really taking it seriously. But if I had a business that was turning over $5 million a year, and if I wanted to make 50% more, $7.5 million, what would I be willing to invest? Well, I'd probably be willing to invest it would obviously depend on what their profit margin is. $5 million, let's say we make 20%, $1 million a year. Okay, well, if I could increase that to 7.5, I might make $2 million a year because, it's not going to directly double the actual running costs of a business. So if I was going to make an extra $2.5 million, I would definitely invest more than $100,000 to do that. We're not committing anything. We're just trying to be honest with each other. So this is going to give me a really good understanding of where they sit. I've dropped it down as low as 3. A lot of people will just click that one, but it's a really good question to have in, and it shows them we're a genuine business who doesn't really just need to take any single customer that comes along. That's how we're positioning ourselves. Question 15. This is the best question only because we've asked the first 14 questions. And you'd be surprised if we have business owners reading this and we've actually covered their pain points and overcome their objections, they will think that, we really understand their problem, which is essentially what we do here, which is why a lot of the questions are very, very specific and targeted. So this will be really powerful to get the information from here. A lot of people really open up in here, and it's been amazing what you see in there. Some people don't, but it's really, really, really good question. And then finally, congratulations, you completed the quiz. Enter your details to get immediate access to your results. Full name, email, put a phone number in if they want to, but really you just want the name and email address at this stage. And then we'll get the results template. So you can actually, just by clicking preview, you can actually see the question here, and you'll also notice that they also usually, where's my fucking asterisk gone? So all you do is just click on here, and what you'll do is you'll see there's an asterisk next to every question. So apart from phone and apart from question 15. So they have to fill those questions out to actually move along. So let's just say we do this one, hit next, you can test this out. And I like to put the back question in as well, because if they accidentally press something and they're like, you know what, we do this as well, why not let them go back and do that? See, the radio buttons only let you select one, whereas the check buttons, if I just jump forward, you can fill in little loads. Okay, so that's how to test it. Now let's just jump to the result template and show you how I configure that. So here's the results template. I'm just gonna have to make the screen smaller. So I'm just going to bring that back down to 90 and then hit the results template. Okay, so in here we have, I don't know if you can still see it, let's just make it a little bit bigger. We have your results, this is just a headline. Then we have the total results. So in here you have 4 individual result brackets. We'll have low, which means we can offer 3 or 4 services. Medium, which means we can offer 2 or 3 services. High, which means we can offer 1 or 2 services. And then excellent, which means we either can't offer them anything or we can offer them 1 service. Now this here is what answer they will get based on the score that they put in. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 individual result brackets that they can fall under. So low, medium, high, or excellent. So you've got to write an individual paragraph for every single one. Don't make it too long. And what I've done is in the PDF, I've actually got all 20 because there's 4 in here, 4 in here, 4 in here, 4 in here, and 4 in here. So that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So there's a bit of work that goes into this. So if you want to copy and paste them, feel free to do that. Change it a little bit. Use slightly different wording or something so everyone who uses it isn't exactly the same, but just get the general points across. So moving on. So these are the individual products that we sell for them. And again, you've got qualifying funnel, low, medium, high, and excellent. So you've got 4 for each. Go to low, you got medium, you put a different one in, you put a high, you put another one in, and so on and so forth. And then finally, you've got your call to action in here. So book call. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to sell a quiz and not trying to push products and services onto people. Do the quiz. If you want to do it, do it. If not, no problem. We don't need your business. We've got a lot of business. You can configure the scores in here. So I'm just going to go back to the PDF. So in here, when I just jump past all of the questions, we've got the lower quartile, 0 to 40. So if someone scores 0 to 40, we can offer them, usually 3 or 4 services. We've got medium range, high range, and excellent range. And then just save. And that's that configured. And then you hit save here. And then save here. 3 times. Okay, because sometimes you'll come out of it, you haven't saved it, and it'll revert back to what it was. So that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to quickly show you what all of your videos show you, which is basically very quickly how to actually create a quiz. I use to add object fields, and I actually create my own individual category specifically for those 15 questions. So in the customer's main account, it'll have a drop-down menu on the left-hand column, and it'll have all of the questions all in one group, which is what I want. The way you actually create this a quiz, I'll just do a quick test one. So I use a multi-line for that 15th question. I use radio buttons, and I also use the checkbox. So that's the 3 that I use. Let's use radio select because there's an extra functionality in there that I can use. So test. I always put it under the contact. I don't really put it under the opportunity. And then I use the group. So I actually create a 15-question quiz group. So use 15-question quiz. Then I'll use yes, add an option, no. And then on the radio select, you can actually have custom values. And then I hit save. That's pretty much it. It's very, very easy. And you can see that it creates a unique key, which is what you use in order to pull data from a particular customer's account. And that's how I do that. Very, very straightforward. So back up, and then I hit save. And when I hit save, that'll go from 15, it'll change to 16. Done. Now I just hit more, and it'll be in there. And I can bring that test into here if I wanted to. And there we have the test question added in there on page 17 automatically. To actually add the congratulations and all of that information, I mean, you probably already know this, but very quickly, all I do is go to, I just drag the text in there, and you can put any text you want in there. You can make it heading 1, heading 5, you know, or heading 1. So that's that done. So to get into the questions, if you have any problems, I'm just going to delete that. Just hit save before I come out. Always hit save when you come out of things because it prevents any glitches. And sometimes if I want to edit something, what I'll do is I'll just delete it from there. Then I'll hit save. Then what I'll then do is I'll then actually come out of it. And then to actually access the questions, you just go into your custom fields and you can actually find any of those questions that you want. I can actually tick that and I can edit it or delete it here if I want to edit it. I can edit it here. I can only edit the questions. I can't edit the group. That's the only thing I can't edit. If I have to edit the group or something like that, I just delete the whole thing and then rewrite the question. So that's how I do that. Just go back into the quizzes very quickly. Save. Done. And that's that done. So just to finish off on the PDF, just seeing how complicated this actually is. There's 256 combinations of answers. That's why it gets quite complicated. I've actually put every combination down here, you know, so you don't. This is going to save you hours and hours and hours, and this is why I think this video is one of the best value videos that you're going to get. First video is about Facebook ads. This is about building the quiz, and the next video is going to be about building the funnel, getting it all together, and then I'll do a bonus video showing you all the results. There's all your responses in here, general responses, product 1, product 2, so you're going to get all of that all in the PDF. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. I really, really, you know, want to be able to help as many people as I can. And I'm sure if you become one of the first people for 2026 in the school community, you know, you're going to get unbelievable value by getting some one-on-one help and give you some direction and get you the first 10 clients. And, you know, really get you that $10,000 to $20,000 a month passive income, and this is hopefully going to help you sack your boss. See you in the next video. Hopefully it'll be out in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see you then.